Hi, and welcome back to Roam Away From Home. I'm Taylor, and this is Mike, and for the past 2 years we've been traveling together in our 1986 RV with our two pups, Ziggy and Ditto. We've been on so many adventures together, and today we're going to touch on Mesa Verde National Park and our road trip from Utah and the beautiful Red Rocks to Colorado and the amazing forests. The drive itself through Southwest Colorado is absolutely worth it. For this stay, we decided to boondock in the San Juan National Forest just outside of Mancos, Colorado. I got a quick workout in because of my 100-day challenge, and then we set up camp. This is a typical setup for our boondocking stays. We usually have a ton of space to ourselves, we're surrounded by the natural forest, and you gotta love Mike's go-to driving day shirt. One reason we love boondocking is the lack of light pollution. This was our night every single night that we stayed here. Once we woke up, we hit the road for Mesa Verde National Park, which is only about 20 minutes from where we were staying. We do have America the Beautiful Pass, which gets you access to the national parks. We highly recommend that if you're a full-time traveler. This park has super steep inclines to get to these views, so you're not allowed to tow a trailer, and they have a drop-off place at the entrance of the national park. Wow, look, that's crazy.
So beautiful. See? Aren't you glad I brought our chairs? We could just plop out and just look at that view and soak it in.
Yeah. Mesa Verde National Park isn't super dog friendly. They don't have a lot of trails that the dogs can go on, and the trails we really want to go on, dogs aren't allowed. So what they do have is boarding at the park. So we're gonna go ahead to the dog boarding and drop off Ziggy and Ditto and then do some cool hikes. So they are 10 days late on their Bordetella, so they did not accept them at the dog boarding place, so we're just going to take them on a scenic drive, which was mostly our plan anyway. So, are you excited still?
Yes.
So yeah, now we just are limited on the hikes that we can do. Our first stop is Cliff Palace, which is North America's largest cliff dwelling and has 150 rooms and 21 kivas. The ancestral Pueblo people thrived throughout Mesa Verde for over 700 years. Most of the historical sites are visible from viewpoints, but there are some hikes like the Balcony House that require a guide, and you must make reservations. There are also a lot of picnic areas throughout the park, and all of them are really beautiful. We honestly didn't expect to have such a scenic lunch, but we were so happy to take a little break, have our sandwiches, have our local beer before heading on the Mesa Top Loop Drive. This loop is 6 miles and has 11 stops along the way. But before you start the drive, check out Spruce Tree House. There are really cool trails around the Spruce Tree House, and it is the third largest and best preserved cliff dwelling in Mesa Verde National Park. If you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you have got to see this because all of these cliff dwellings reminded me of air temples, specifically the Western Air Temple. I'll show a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's the last clip again so you can compare. Now, sometimes they do need to close certain trails to keep the cliff dwellings preserved, but do not miss the hike around the rim of the Spruce House. You can get super high vantage points and it is truly beautiful. We took turns waving at each other from across the canyon. Your first stop on the Mesa Top Loop is a pit house from 600 AD. It is one of the first permanent homes. It is a semi-subterranean home to help handle the weather and climate changes since we are at 7,000 feet elevation. What's really cool about this loop is that you just hop in your car, drive a short distance before seeing something else that's amazing. These pit houses that we saw earlier were the first permanent homes that led to these cliff dwellings about 600 years later. The more the buildings developed, the more that they started to build villages and the first towns in the US. We're actually standing in one of the last Mesa Top Pueblos that was ever built in Mesa Verde. It's a 30-room village with a large kiva, and this is what led to the cliff dwellings. Some archaeologists believe they recycled materials from these pueblos to build the cliff dwellings. Up next is Sun Point View, which is a canyon junction that contains over 30 cliff dwellings. They're really hard to spot and very well camouflaged, but Mike did a good job. Oh, wow. That is so cool.
Right there.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
You're 15, we can't see sunset, so. There's two right there.
Wow, they're very well
Oh,
camouflaged.
yeah, it's that little slit right there.
I truly believe this is what the air temples were based off of, don't you? I mean, they look exactly like it, like the Western Air Temple. Our next stop is the Sun Temple, built in 1250. I loved this because you could actually walk around the structure and really get a feel for it. It never had a roof, and some archaeologists believe it was an observatory for celestial events. This is awesome. It's the mystery of Sun Temple. Oh, cool.
Wow.
It's my size.
Seriously.
Keeping up with the Avatar theme, here are some pictures of Sun Temple in Avatar. They aren't exactly the same, but they do have the same principle of using the building to truly appreciate nature and their surroundings. How is it?
This is clearly the view.
It says camera point.
Yeah, Mesa Verde National Park. This is the view.
The Cliff Palace view is the last stop on the Mesa Top Loop. It is truly the perfect way to end this national park trip, and we are just so happy and amazed by how beautiful this park is. The drive back was equally beautiful, and we do have a little tip for where to get some food after you visit Mesa Verde. If you're hungry or want a cold beer, we highly recommend Mankus Brewing Company in town. It's also a harvest host, so you could stay there for free while visiting the Mesa Verde National Park.
Pulling out of that KOA on the road in our Chevrolet. Turn right at the Texaco, then anywhere we want to go. I know I'm gonna get there next to you. And baby, I know wherever we go, got the wind at our backs and the sun coming through our windows, burning down the tread on four wheels. High on life and loving you.
And just like that, our time at Mesa Verde National Park was over. Feel free to drop any questions you have in the comment section, and I'm happy to answer them. Our next stop was actually unexpected. We headed to New Mexico to Ticotime River Resort, where we attended a music festival and took advantage of all of the fun amenities. Subscribe to be the first to hear about this next video because it is a fun one.
Guy, a slow road gets us there in time. I know I'll find my way if I'm with you.